Hey guys, what's up? So back with me today, the Chrono Sprinter. So today what I will be doing is we have a full-on review on Daytonas. So what I have prepared today is a solid gold Daytona with a diamond dial, a Paul Newman Daytona, two stainless steel Daytona with one a white face and a blue face. I particularly did not put a ceramic in terms of this comparison because I wanted to make all the bezels the same. Okay, so let's start with the black dial. So this particular Daytona with the reference 116520, the black dial, this was around 2003, 2004 in that era. As you can see, the clasp and the buckle is still the button one. I do not really particularly like this one because it's part of the transition between the old vintage ones and to the most current one, which is very similar to this, but it's more of a sophisticated design. So on this model, you can see that the bezel is not like the Panda, it's still a steel bezel. So now I'll have a look with you the white dial. So this one, the difference between this and the black is very minimal. It just has the Rehort engraving in the chapter. So it has the Rolex engraving and the serial number. So this particular model is a Z serial, so it cross-references the year 2008. Again, it still has the same buckle and clasp as the black dial one. So throughout the years, that's the only noticeable difference between the two watches from the two different periods. So comparing them side by side, you can see the difference a dial color makes on a watch. Some people prefer the white, some prefer the black. I prefer personally the black because it gives you the contrast with the steel bezel, unlike the white one. But again, it's ultimately consumer's preference. The buckle again is the same. The noticeable difference is just the chapter ring on the Rehort. Okay, so now let's move on to more of a precious steel Daytona. So what I have on hand is a solid yellow gold Daytona. It's a Zenith Daytona, so it has the old movement, and the dial is diamond indices. You can see it has a very vintage look. You can see the from the buckle. It's one of the most, I would say, interesting in terms of watches because it paved the way on how today's buckle and clasp design is. So it's ultimately like the grandfather of the glide lock that we use today in Submariners. Again, this is roughly around 1990s watch, and I would say it's still noticeably very well crafted. Yeah, so let's compare a gold watch with a stainless steel. In terms of pricing, obviously, the stainless steel is very high in price compared to a gold. This gold, I would say, cross-referencing to a US dollar amount, the Zenith is trading at around 35 to 40, while these steel ones, they're around 20. So for approximately 10 to 15k difference, depending on if you're of watch only or full set, there's not much of a difference. Now I'll go through with the two different buckles for these watches. So one is the vintage and one is the middle transition version. So the middle transition, they use a button down, so it clips through that button, not like the very current one, which is through a glide lock. So yeah, so you can see the difference in terms of the thickness of the buckle and the finish. I personally am not a fan of the old buckle in the old Daytonas. I feel like it's not as firm as the current models, but yes, I do like the gold finish, and I feel like it's a well crafted watch in terms of its age. Okay, so now let's move on to the most recent acquisition of mine, which is the Paul Newman Daytona. So this is the most, I would say, the most updated version of a Daytona there is in my collection. So this was around 2013, 2014. It has the rehaut engraving, the new buckle, and you can feel it's more of a heavier watch than before, although it's the same material they use. It's still solid gold. I really like the buckle of the new Rolex models. I feel it's a very snug fit and it's very comfortable. Although what I miss about the buckle in a Daytona is the glide lock function that normally the Submariner has. So in between these two models, I'll show you the difference between the most recent buckle and the last updated, which is the around 2002 to 2008. So I'll take all three of the watches in from different periods so you can observe the differences between the three. Okay, so I'll be making a side-by-side comparison between the Paul Newman and the Diamond. I prefer the Paul Newman. It has more historic and sentimental value to me, but obviously there's a lot of history with the Diamond as well. It's one of the first ever gold Daytonas in production of the Rolex line. Okay, so that concludes my video. Let me know which Daytona you think is more of worth the price that they are in the market today. Which one do you prefer, steel or gold? And give me a like, subscribe, and comment. Thanks, guys.